Across Australia, New Zealand and the South Pacific, this is the week's Adventist News in Focus.
Hello, thanks for joining us this week. I'm Sibel Kute. Sanitarium, which is owned and operated by the Seventh-day Adventist Church, has announced it will cease making Weet-Bix and other health foods at its most historic site. Over the next 3 years, manufacturing operations at the Cooranbong factory will be gradually moved half an hour south down New South Wales Central Coast to the Berkeley Vale facility as well as to Brisbane. Sanitarium management says it was a tough decision to make, but the ageing Cooranbong plant is increasingly difficult and expensive to maintain. In an official statement, Sanitarium said employees will be offered transfers to other locations where possible. The rest will be assisted to transition to new employment. Sanitarium began manufacturing at Cooranbong in 1898. Large-scale medical studies in the US have added to the growing evidence that the safest level of alcohol use is no alcohol. Harvard University research found that women who consumed only one standard drink per day still had a 13% higher risk of cancer than their non-drinking peers. Breast cancer is the most common cancer linked to alcohol for women. For men, it's colorectal cancers. According to News Limited, 3.6% of cancers worldwide are linked to alcohol use, and it doesn't matter whether the alcohol consumed is wine, beer, or spirits. The Seventh-day Adventist Church, which has its roots in the temperance movement of the 1800s, is among the Christian groups who continue to advocate an alcohol-free lifestyle. An horrific series of murders in the Russian city of Nizhny Novgorod has prompted authorities to raid church offices in a crackdown that Adventist leaders say has been handled poorly. Oleg Belov has been arrested in connection with the gruesome deaths of his wife, children, and elderly mother. The Moscow Times was among the media outlets that claimed Belov is a Seventh-day Adventist. But even though church leaders say Belov was removed from membership in 2007 for unchristian behaviour, Adventist properties have been searched and church workers interrogated. Adventist leaders say the false information spread about the church in connection with the killings has damaged its reputation. They've also expressed their condolences to the grieving family and their willingness to help the authorities with their investigation. Legal and religious experts meeting in California have faced up to the reality of religion-motivated violence, but also the healing power of faith. The 17th annual meeting of religious liberty experts brought together representatives from across the religious spectrum and around the world, as well as lawyers and academics specializing in religious freedom. Those present were confronted with the reality of the 5.5 billion people, 77% of the world's population, who currently live in countries with significant restrictions on religious freedom. Case studies highlighted not only the reality of religion-motivated violence, but also the reconciliation facilitated by religious leaders in places like Rwanda. The gathering was coordinated by the International Religious Liberty Association, which is sponsored by the Seventh-day Adventist Church. There's more news in this week's full half-hour In Focus program, which you can see on Hope Channel, the Australian Christian Channel and Digital 44 in Adelaide. Look out for these special features. What's cooking in Canberra? Politics in Focus.
Zoo, if you like, is one of those publications that slipped through the cracks. It essentially has got the equivalent of a G rating when really it should have much tougher restrictions placed on it.
Tips for transitioning to a more plant-based diet.
Swap a recipe, modify your recipe, you could swap a meal or even swap a day and make it a plant-based diet.
And finding your soulmate on God's timetable.
I'm thankful now, looking back, that because I think God really used, wouldn't you say used those extra years to really develop things in our character and certain things that just for us needed working through.
Now you can also see the program at the Record website, which is record.net.au. infocus.org.au. Take a look. That's it from me this week. I'll see you next time on InFocus Adventist News. God bless.